Hello, hello. We are back with another session of Inside HR, our summer series with HR Florida. Before we kick things off, I'm going to toss the mic real quick to Marty so she can share a little announcement with us.
Hi, everybody. And as Georgette said, it's summer. And when we talk about summer in Florida, one of the biggest events we have is the HR Florida Conference. It is coming up quickly. It is not too late to register. So if you are still interested in attending, go out to the HR Florida website, take a look at we have one-day sessions, we have pre-conference sessions. So if you can't come for the whole event, at least try to make it for a day. And we look forward to seeing each and every one of you at the conference. Rosen Shingle Creek, and October 26th through 29th. See you all there.
Oh, Georgette, you're muted.
Great call out. Thank you for that. So welcome back. For anybody tuning in for the first time, this is a Lunch and Learn series that we put together in order to pull back the curtain on an HR discipline and explore various career opportunities available in the world of HR, as well as giving y'all the chance to ask questions of our panelists. I am Georgette Cartagena, and I'm your Emerging Professionals Director on the State Council, which means my role is to help create opportunities for the council and local chapters to support those who are new to our field, kind of why we put this program on together. So those with under 3 years of experience, and then I will let my co-host Kayla share about herself as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla Duckworth. I'm the College Relations Director at HR Florida. My role on the council is to support the various student chapters throughout the state and assist student memberships with current trends and topics in human resources and have networking opportunities. I also run the student game competition, which is going to take place at our leadership conference this year. It's scheduled on October 26th in Charlotte Harbor. So if you are interested in attending, please reach out to me directly. And some housekeeping items. Right now we are live streaming, so if you can hear us okay, give me a thumbs up. Also, please share in the chat what is your role, and share where you are joining us from.
Perfect. So yes, please share those.
We'll keep an eye on the comments section, and we invite you all to share any questions that you have about today's topic in career and compensation and benefits throughout that comment section. We'll keep an eye on it.
Awesome. So I'm really excited. Although we heard from her already, we have an esteemed guest with us here today, and I'm going to give an abridged version of her bio because I don't want to spoil anything in terms of the career journey, but welcome to Marty Bryson, the HR Florida State Council President. She's been a practitioner in HR for over 25 years, has a master's in legal studies, SHRM CP and SPHR certifications, as well as holds a SHRM specialty credential for people analytics and total rewards. And her career has been in hospitality, entertainment, and healthcare. So welcome, Marty.
Thank you.
I've got some questions for you, if that's okay.
Of course.
All right. So the first question is, what are the typical career paths within compensation and benefits, and how have these paths evolved in recent years?
Well, as we have been doing this Inside HR and talked about career paths, most people land in HR. They don't plan a path. And I would say that your benefits and your compensation individuals typically come to this from another area of HR where they see that compensation can really fill a need for their analytics. Or they may have been a recruiter and they have found that understanding the pay structure, the starting wages, the promotions and transfers, and how that all works really fills a need for them. They may have also come to it from accounting and payroll, just a lot of different paths. And while we typically talk about comp and benefits together and total rewards together, I have seen that compensation specialists can be a very unique discipline, and they are typically found in your larger organizations, colleges, especially. Comp and classification is a unique role in upper ed, and hospitals, government. They usually have a compensation team, because those areas, those fields have such structured compensation paths. Benefits, on the other hand, you have multiple layers of benefits. You have your specialist who really wants to help, who is involved in the enrollment, the new hire paperwork, the education, if you will. And then, these paths are really evolving because benefits are getting more complex. And so you then have another layer of individuals who may be focusing in on plan administration, relationship with vendors. You have your TPAs, you have your pharmacy manager, pharmacy benefit managers, you have your brokers, and how do all of those work together? That is an entire specialty. But then you also have those individuals that are looking at comp and benefits as part of the overall strategy of the organization. How does this rewards program, how do benefits and what we pay for benefits fit with the financial picture? How does it fit with the total compensation package? So there's many careers available within just comp and benefits.
I'm going to hop right in here because that was such a thorough response, and I think really paints a clear picture of the fact that we kind of cheated a little bit with today's topic by hosting two disciplines together, but it's because of the way that people typically think about those things as being intricately, woven. But I really appreciate the fact that you're highlighting yes, they're typically thought of together, right? Because it's part of the package that the employee receives, compensation and benefits. But both of those subject areas have so much more nuance and room for opportunity and specialization that I know we'll touch on a little bit too. Something that I wanted to share with the group is that I don't know how many people have been looking at comp and benefits for a long time, but according to the BLS, that employment of compensation benefits job analysis sort of class of professionals is expected to grow 7% between 2022, which was 2 years ago, to 2032. So there is a lot of growth that's going to happen with how many positions are available. And I appreciate the fact that you kind of highlighted, you typically see these in larger organizations where there's a need for more structure and kind of consistency and process. So in terms of, now that you've shared with us sort of what are the paths, I guess, what are some of the certifications or advanced degrees that might be beneficial for career progression in these particular areas?
Those individuals, like I said, that are at these larger organizations who really, really have that passion for benefits, compensation, total rewards, they may go for their CEBS, CESB certification, which is hosted by the World at Work. And it is a series of tests and ongoing learning. It's almost like when an insurance agent gets their licensure and they keep building on the different series. So that is for those individuals that are really into comp and benefits, that would be the certification to go for. As far as advanced degrees, you could have a degree in business administration, because these are the areas, these are back of the house positions. These are positions that are really looking into how does this structure make our organization run. These are cost centers. They are not generating income for the organization, but they are some of the largest budgets that any organization, slices of any organization's budget. So business administration, your MBA, again, HR, because it is about people. At the end of the day, it is still about people.
Thank you for sharing. And then on that, what skills and competencies do you think are essential for moving from a generalist role to a specialist role in compensation and benefits?
If you are going to move into comp and benefits, you really need to have a strong desire for analytics, for data mining, for taking the ability to take that research, employee surveys, etc., and project management. Project management is huge, whether it is laying out a new benefit program, whether it is putting together open enrollment. Another skill that is very, very useful to anyone in the benefits arena is marketing, because you are selling these benefits to the employees. What are the advantages of these benefits? How will they make your life better, et cetera, et cetera. So marketing is also a strong skill.
Thank you, Marty.
Of course.
I think we have one more guest joining us. There she is. Hi. So we have a welcoming to the stage here. We have Donna Mannion. Real quick, the Vice President of HR at Suncoast Credit Union, a previous HR Professional of the Year.
Yay!
So, huge. And the current Programs Director for Suncoast HR as well, which is an affiliate of HR Florida. So welcome, Donna.
Hi, sorry for the technical difficulties.
No worries. Not to put you on the spot, but I would love to get your take on that question as well, Kayla, if you don't mind repeating it one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. So what skills and competencies do you think are essential for moving from a generalist role to a specialist role in compensation and benefits?
So I've got to tell you, it's going to be about the details. It's going to be about your ability to, believe it or not, work in Excel a lot. And you know, at this moment, let's say I'm talking about somebody who would be a graduate or early career, because I think the answers to some of these questions are different based on where you want to, you know, if you want to be a VP of total rewards at a big company, that might be a different answer than, you know, I want to be the CHRO at a midsize reporting to, you know, the CEO. So some of these answers might be a little bit different depending on what your path is. And so in moving from a generalist, you know, we just promoted someone who had been working in the talent acquisition organization. And because she was familiar with job descriptions and posting jobs and what the grades were, and you know, what the requirements were for the jobs and what the functions are in the job, she is just hitting the ground running at becoming a comp analyst. And so most people might not think that that's a step that they might want to take, but really it's a great one. And not only that, right now, those skills and compensation and benefits are in very high demand because of the competitiveness amongst organization. And it's not all about pay; it's about a lot of the other things that you offer. So that detail orientation, the what generalist activities were you really engaging in, where you could build some of those basic skills so that you could kind of hop over to a specialist role. And the other thing in the compensation role is you end up working with managers and executives a lot. So your communication skills are essential, that you can basically, explain to someone why, the pay or the grade isn't what they wanted it to be. Or the structure, their span of control is too narrow. You don't need a director over two people. It really just you need to understand what the functions are for that to happen. So I would say those are and in benefits, honestly, it's empathy. I would say right now people are bringing their whole selves to work, and so we are dealing now with things maybe even 5 years ago or 7 years ago we were not dealing with in benefits world. So, the ability to know all the plans and all the services and all the things that are available to employees, even in a small company, you have to be able to navigate all the leaves and all that technical information with empathy. So I would say I would put those out there. I'm going to just add a little bit to what Marty said about advanced degrees and certifications. Of course, we love our SHRM certifications, HRCI too, but anybody that is really looking for a future and a career in HR, those certifications are so important. Even companies that don't know a lot about HR, they know that they want people to have those certifications. It's kind of their only way to test that someone knows what they need to know to perform the job functions. So those are really good. The benefits World at Work has a very solid, they have a benefits designation as well as a compensation designation. They're a little bit more expensive to obtain, but they're really quite good. So I would say, and the other thing is, if you're, I never thought I'd be here today in my level, and it's because you're probably going to work a lot longer than you think, and so plan for advancement and where you want to land. A lot of times now, for higher level HR jobs, companies are really wanting an MBA. And masters or, something in org design development. Or industrial psych. I mean, a lot of those higher level degrees for higher level positions, in particular with larger companies.
I'm just trying to take notes as quickly as I can here in the background. I mean, yeah,
just between AI and record. Take
True.
notes with
Yeah,
you.
be smarter about that. That's actually a perfect segue because the next question was, how are emerging trends like remote work, AI, changes in data analytics impacting the profession for comp and benefits professionals?
Well, I am ecstatic to be able to use AI to take this data that we get and analyze it. The AI is going to support everything that is done in comp and benefits so that we can get to decisions quicker. Instead of Donna and I spending hours manipulating data in a spreadsheet, let's have AI do that machine learning and spit out some trends so that we then, as the professional, as the human, can look at that trend and say, does that make sense? Is that a trend that we also, does that resonate with what we are seeing? And is that a trend that we want to be aware of and plan for? So I am ecstatic that AI is helping in this career path. Donna?
So on the AI trend, we're very excited about it. And so the challenge really becomes everybody's now putting webinars out, and so they're mostly talking about how it's going to impact, but most of them are not showing you how to do it. And so what I have pushed a lot of education on our team, because there is to put your toe in the water. It's easy to offer small prompts, but there is huge productivity and efficiency gains to be made by AI, but we really need to know how to do that, what to ask, where do we focus that? And of course, before that, we've got to say, okay, well, wait a minute, how is our data going to be protected? And that's a key issue organizationally, that you have to be able to secure the data that you put in there, because you don't know where it's going after that. So there is so much that is exciting about it. And I try to use it more and more all the time. Some companies are watching and waiting and seeing what happens. I'm on the AI committee at Suncoast, and we're moving slowly and cautiously, because certainly as a financial institution, we got to protect our data. And so we're doing everything there that we can. But, we're talking about AI in the most simple of terms, like generative AI. So there's so much beyond that. And so the most important thing we can all do is self-educate, and then experiment. Get your data safe, and then experiment. And I am finding that just one thing that I've figured out how to do is I can get it to take dictation. So now I don't have to type every memo or a longer a version of a discipline or a project plan, and or meeting minutes. And so it's a lifesaver in just that one little area where I don't have to take notes and type everything over again. I could just say, hey, record this and then summarize this meeting. So administratively, it's a gift, but there's so much more that's out there. I mean, just how we're going to use Excel going forward. What is it going to be able to do? Think about how that's going to improve our lives in doing data analytics and compensation. I mean, it's just going to be phenomenal. So we gotta, go cautiously, but go. Remote trends, that's been a game changer. It's going to stay. And so, but I will say that, in terms of affecting compensation and benefits, I don't see that as much as it affects something like culture. Because we're still everybody's still promoting people. They're holding their new jobs tight right now. So there's probably a lot of people motion. So we don't have to do a lot of external hiring. And remote work adds to the, the ability for us to be able to hire. And then of course, data analytics is the name of the game. We've got to be able to not only tell our story, but be able to decision well. And so, and that really runs across every HR entity. But we're just starting to do this in compensation now, quite a bit. But in benefits, it's a little bit harder to wade through. But we have got to do a better job of telling that story of what we're doing, because one, it's important for our employees to wade through the huge amount of data that they've got to wade through. But also from a senior management reporting standpoint. So data analytics is just absolutely huge, and most of us might be, well, we're not anywhere near. Where do we start? We're not near that yet, but we definitely have to find those resources. And Gartner has a large bunch of information about data analytics and what you should measure. So there's probably things out there that you can find from them if you wanted to get started and explore. And so does SHRM. So does SHRM website. If you're a member, it's there for you.
Yeah, that's true. There's so much information available to us at our fingertips. It's almost part of the reason why we're maybe a little bit hesitant potentially as individuals, or not trying to speak for anybody else, myself, trying to figure out what are the most appropriate ways to leverage, AI and analytics for my own role. So I just want to take a moment to highlight the fact that I appreciate that you gave us a specific example of how you've been testing the waters. But I fully respect that for your institution, as a financial institution, you need to go a little bit slower just to make sure that the integrity and compliance aspect of the information you're reviewing and sharing is there. I did want to invite anybody watching this right now, if there are some cool ways that you've been able to leverage AI within your roles within your roles, or specifically for compensation and benefits, please feel free to chime in the chat here as well. We're always open to some new ideas, and so our panelists have given us a starting place, but feel free to continue the conversation in the comments. And then I guess going into our next question, Kayla will tackle this one.
And this is for both of you. What are some of the biggest challenges facing compensation and benefit professionals today, and how can they be addressed?
Wow, some of the biggest challenges, Donna mentioned remote work. As people travel to different locations, people are not all living and working in the same area. So your benefit plan needs to encompass our services available in remote areas of the state, our services available in other states. Compensation too, as you are looking at different markets, what people who are living and working in Central Florida may have a different cost of living than someone that is living in Idaho. But with remote work, you can have employees from all over. So looking at those markets, and are you going to making organizational decisions of, are you going to have a global compensation plan, or are you going to have a market-based compensation plan, or some hybrid thereof, is one area. Another area is simply defining what are benefits these days. That is a evolving moving target. Things that used to be perks, dry cleaning at work used to be a perk. It now falls into a lot of benefits, a lot of your wellness initiatives, wellness ambassadors have crossover into financial wellness, which falls into your retirement plans, your retirement financial advisors, uh, nutrition, all of those things. There's crossover between what your benefit providers, your traditional insurance carriers are providing, and what used to be considered additional wellness engagement tools. So there's a lot of crossover these days in defining who's responsible for what. And as organizations grow, or as just complexity of those offerings grow, how do you slice and dice into different roles?
Well, amen to all you just said. So I think we still battle the age-old issue of educating employees on all that we have and how to use it. I mean, it just doesn't change. And for competitive reasons, employers are trying to really build good wellness and financial wellness programming. But just education is a huge effort on the benefits side, and it gets no smaller. So that is and that's a very important area. I mean, thankfully now we have a lot of other ways that we can share that information via, video, or, a company intranet, or a newsletter, or, some of the traditional methods work, but there are a lot more reach outs now to try and get people to see what is available. And certainly mental health is huge, and mental health education, and there's so many tools and resources there. Same with financial resources. There's so many resources. It's overwhelming for, an employee at any level to wade through all that. And I think the challenge on the benefits side is filtering that, and helping it, be understandable, and, helping people connect to it. On the compensation side, we have our hands full on pay equity, and all of the analysis, fair, transparency, fair pay. So there are a lot of things happening there that present challenges. Certainly, the states are getting on board with transparency legislation. So, you can do it. You can wait until someone requires you to do it, or a state requires you to do it. But, this is what employers are looking for, and they're far more apt to, look at a job that's got a pay that they're looking for. The challenge is, what if it's not right? They're going to move on, and they're not going to look. So it's a very delicate balance about what you put out there and how you put it out. So lots facing their comp professionals today, and our benefits teams. So a little bit of the old remains, but a whole bunch of new is there.
And that actually leads us perfectly into our next question. How can compensation and benefit professionals stay ahead of those industry changes and regulations?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that this is not an advertisement, but one of the things that's been frustrating for us on the compensation side is the age of compensation data over the past couple of years, when the markets have moved so dynamically. And so we will use our typical resources and software for salary information. But, some salary surveys still only are, they're a year ago. And so, but you're dealing with a market that's radically different than what was happening a year ago. So a couple of companies are now starting to come out with data that actually mines job postings now, and it's actually based on recent postings, and you can do it in any market that you choose to do it, but it allows you to, you wouldn't want to do it in isolation, but it does allow you to bounce it up against that older data and say, okay, do I need to age this, or how do I blend, or how do I utilize these other data points? But at least you have something that's recent and active and actual that you can use. So that's just one of the things that we're trying to kind of get ahead of what's happening in comp world, so we can compete. And the other challenge is, that's just because you're doing that doesn't mean you're spending money. But everyone's had to spend money, and trying to figure out how to be competitive and not, especially in companies that don't have the money to spend. You really got to stay on top of market and try and, make the best decisions that you can. On the benefits side, honestly, work your brokers. And I have to say, most of us are using a broker, and, put those to work for you. That's what you pay them for. And go to the seminars that they are providing. Normally those are free. And I know that sounds just so elemental, but make time to go to those and stay ahead. Go to the your monthly meetings, because I do programming, so I'm a little biased, but we're really trying to give you content that you can use today. So that's relevant. So go to those. Once you pay your membership, they're basically free or of little cost. So you have got to stay educated. You just on top of all you have to do, that's a really big ask, because we all now have so much more to do. We are sitting in here in August, and really should be like April or May. Right? Biologically, you're like, it's August. Wait a minute. How could that be? So it's hard to make time for those things. But if you really want to stay ahead, you need to.
One of the things that Jessica Hollerman said in the last Inside series was that she subscribes to a lot of email lists and magazines, etc., and she doesn't read them. She was quite honest. She doesn't read them. Okay, I don't either, but I get that email list every day. I get those magazines. I look at the table of contents. It gives me a glance at what are other people talking about. And so when I start seeing the same topic in different areas or more frequently, I go, okay, that's something I need to stop and really take a glance at, an inside deep dive into, to see what that is, where it's at, what it's going to do to impact my organization, and what actions may I need to start prepping. So read. Donna was talking about education. Reading is also very strongly suggested, needed.
Yeah. That's such a good point. When because we get so many emails, but when you're surfing and you see, wait a minute, you're seeing a lot of AI right now, but you're also seeing a lot of pay transparency right now. And that's a really good way to kind of go, okay, things are heating up. So that's a really great point.
And that is sort of an evergreen challenge, regardless of what specialization you might have in HR. Every area has its share of regulations and trends, and AI and remote work affects all team areas, right? Today we happen to be talking specifically about compensation and benefits, but it's something that is almost a universal experience. As changes are going to happen, and so education is a tool to stay up to date with changes in order to be prepared to lead your team through that. So I love the like sound bites, education bites. There's some really actionable things that I think both of you have shared throughout this conversation so far. So I just want to say thank you in advance. And then that kind of leads into our next question, though, is it's come up a little bit around other functions in HR and having to partner with business leaders. So what are some of your recommendations on how comp and benefits professionals can effectively partner with other HR functions or business leaders to achieve goals?
Well, I think one of the things that we've been talking about today as well, we're talking about a specialty. We're talking about comp. We're talking about benefits. We do not work in a vacuum. Everything that happens with comp and benefits impacts the recruitment, because if you don't have a solid package, no one's going to come to work for you. If you have the Cadillac of Cadillacs and you are paying leading edge compensation, your company may not be able to afford it. So you have to have conversation with almost every department in the organization when you are in that comp and benefits world, to see what the needs are. You also have to know your audience. You have to know the employees and what the employees want, because if you are spending money to provide services that don't match what your employees want, then it's of no use to them. If you work, for example, if you work in an organization that has a more senior or tenured age of employee, and you suddenly come out with daycare benefits, and most of them, their children are middle school to college, they're not going to see a value to that. On the other hand, if you don't take the time to provide the benefit and comp education, your employees aren't going to understand what benefits are available to them, and they're not going to utilize them. So therefore, they won't get any use out of them. So it's a very balancing act. You're talking with your recruiters, you're talking with your operations managers, you're talking with your accounting departments on a regular basis.
I think the beauty of our network is that it's actually a really well working network. So using the HR networks in your areas is tremendously important. And so out of our chapter, we have a little subgroup called the consortium that anybody can be a part of. And when they have an issue or they have a question, do you have a policy on this? Or, how are you handling, a particular situation? And we have people from all walks in that little group. But it's probably around 20 people, but it could be, quite a bit larger. And so you being a part of one of those kinds of groups, whether it's just an online group, but it's a subgroup of your chapter. And if you don't have one, it's real easy to start one. It's just an email group. And people can answer or not answer, but you can certainly ask questions. So that's a super easy way to stay connected to what is happening amongst your peers. So I've got a couple groups like that. I've got one that's an industry group that's been very helpful as well. Meet people, establish a network, and that's what LinkedIn is for. That's what, your chapter's for. That's what HR Florida is for. And so meet people and keep them, right? And create your circles and networks specific to any topic that you want, and or just general. This is an HR network group, and I can ask them anything from workers' comp to compensation. So I think it's really, really important to utilize each other.
Mhm.
And we've touched on this a little bit already about how so much has changed in the last 5 years, including remote work. But what would you say are the emerging trends in benefits packages, and how can benefits professionals stay competitive?
Some of the biggest trends that we are seeing in the benefits world are in pharmacy. You have gene therapy to treat some unique diseases. You have infusion drugs. You have uh, pharmaceuticals that to treat things that they're on commercial almost every day. But the commercials fail to say that some of those drugs can cost tens of thousands of dollars per month. And so trying to find ways to provide these life-saving drugs to your employees and their dependents and still staying financially good stewards is a balancing act. And so that is one of the biggest trends that is emerging right now is your specialty pharmacy drugs.
Yeah, and we just had a panel session on that, managing pharmacy costs, because they are continuing to increase, and it's very dynamic. So staying up to date on that, really looking at your normally your broker or your carriers will provide you that information. It's like what's bleeding my costs, and those high dollar pharmacy claimants are for sure. Having a good stop loss program, looking at independent pharmacy options. There is there's going to be a lot more information that's going to be coming out. But I mean, in terms of how to handle this, I mean, we're really trying to get educated about where we stand and what we can do. And we're always just looking, right? Don't wait until you have a need. Try to anticipate, well, we might have this particular need. Let's just do some research on it now before we have to really make a decision. So, for example, our open enrollment is in late October. So we've been evaluating all throughout the year. Do we want to consider this? What do we want to do about pharma? Build your strategy through the course of the year so you're ready to sit down and prepare for what you're going to be up against, in those trends. I mean, typically we see a lot of those high claimants are not actually employees, they're spouses of employees, they're dependents. So there's, you got to dig into the data and figure out, okay, let me see if there's anything I can do here. And then start doing your homework on it so that you can be ready to implement that. So just try and know your data, know what's happening in your plans so that you can do the research and make good decisions. We did a benefits survey last year, and it is it was really a good survey, and it continues to yield action items that we can go back to our employees and say, hey, you told us you needed this. And so one of those is a big emerging trend, which is mental health and mental wellness. So, that's just so big. So don't, we've started a mental health, a mental wellness affinity group. We just introduced actually Monday the call map available to our employees. So, we keep reminding them that, hey, based on what you told us, we know this is important to you and this is what we're providing. And so that has very, residual ripple effects across the organization if you can have a less stressed, mindful workforce. But talk to your people and get ahead, and then try to really get ahead of what you think they want. We thought we knew what they wanted, and we really learned, hey, there's a whole bunch of working parents out there, and we need to do more for them. So we looked at providing emergency daycare resources. What are our policies? Can we make them more friendly to parents? So because our branches are always going to stay open. So look at things in relationship to your business. Try to get ahead of what your people want, in addition to just what's happening in the market.
And I think that may be one of the biggest trends that is happening as well, is that the employees are speaking up and saying, this is what we want. They're not simply just accepting what you are offering. They're saying, hey, we need mental health benefits. We need women's health benefits, whether it's menopause, whether it's pregnancy, whether it's family planning. We need financial planning. Student loan debt is a big stressor, and they all run together. You're stressed about your student debt, so therefore your mental health is impacting. You need financial advice on how to get out from under that. And so it all just weaves together. So listening to the employees, and the employees stepping up and saying, this is what I want, I think is a big trend that we're seeing as well.
It's funny that you mentioned menopause benefits, because those surfing emails is exactly how I found out that menopause benefits are really hitting the radar. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be looking at those.
Thank you both for sharing. And we are on our last question. What steps can emerging compensation and benefit professionals take to build their personal brand and enhance their visibility within the organization?
Donna mentioned this earlier. When you're in comp and you're in benefits, you are talking to senior leaders, you are talking to managers and directors on an almost daily basis, and having to explain. So having the skill set to present your story in a compelling manner is going to increase your visibility. When you have that panache, that you can take command of a room, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a presentation, and truly stand behind what you are saying and why you are saying it and how it is going to benefit the organization, people are going to leave going, she's got it. They are going to build, it's going to build trust, and it's going to build engagement. Donna, what can you add to that?
Well, it's customer service 101. Make every conversation matter and deliver on what you promise. If you have memorable, if you are empathetic and you are competent and you deliver on what you say to each caller, each conversation, you present yourself well, you're accurate. And if you do those things, your brand's going to be intact. You will become the knowledge resource that you want to be. People will be coming to you because you were the one who helped them so much the last time. And word gets around, right? You know how healthy grapevines are in every department and organization. And so when you can represent HR as actually, not the principal and a helpful go-to, you know they're going to call you back. They just will, because they feel like, oh, okay, this person's going to return my call. They're going to help me. They're going to follow up. And, you know, that's just, I know it's so basic, but it really works.
Yeah, those soft skills.
And if you do something extra, right? End every conversation with, what else can I do for you? You know, just those interactions one by one have a huge ripple effect. They really do.
I love that. I hope you have been paying attention, those who are watching and those who watch the recording later on, because this has been a really great conversation. So thank you, Donna and Marty, for giving us your time today, answering these questions. I have a couple of things to share before we close this out. So I am happy to announce that we are actually going to be extending the Inside HR series with a session on avoiding burnout for HR professionals happening September 10th at noon, keeping in with our lunch and learn theory here. Feel free to drop in the comments if there are any other HR disciplines we should consider doing in the future. We'll take that under advisement. And if you are an emerging professional who is attending the annual conference, we will have a dessert reception for y'all at the annual conference Sunday night at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to drop the email in the comments real quick, but email emergingprofessionals@hrflorida.org to RSVP for that.
Can me and Marty crash that?
By all means, you're welcome.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Right,
Lots going on during the annual conference. I look forward to seeing everyone there. Mm-hmm.
We know it'll be great. It's just around the corner.
Yes.
I know. So soon.
Starts off on Sunday, August 25th.
Wow. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.